Now for our feature story of the day, Trump's latest tax proposal. No taxes for those earning less than $150,000, which is the majority of the people. Let's make America great again. That's right. Also, push for Trump to de-annex Puerto Rico, gaining momentum in D.C. This was published today, or just recently, today, March 15th, on InfoWars. And being I live in Puerto Rico, this is actually pretty significant. So I'm going to be sharing some insider insights here as well. And we'll also be discussing the 0% capital gains, Bitcoin, and cryptos made in the U.S. Proposal from the Trump administration as well. So again, welcome everyone. If you make less than $150,000 a year, Trump wants to abolish your taxes. And this is according to the U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. In fact, I watched the interview he gave speaking that on CBS on Tuesday. This is what he says. I know what his goal is. No tax for anybody who makes less than $150,000 per year. That's his goal. That's what I'm working for. Now, that's actually interesting because so many people from the opposing party, the Dems, say Trump only cares about the rich. He's only going to protect the rich. He's going to give the tax breaks to the rich and make the poor. We pay in the lion's share, the boom. That would just basically destroy every thought from that camp, would it not? If you didn't have to pay any taxes because you earn less than $150,000 a year, which is virtually all the poor people. I don't think you can be considered poor and be making more than $150,000 a year. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe with today's inflation, I don't know. But let me know your thoughts there. Lutnick also mentioned Trump's plans to eliminate taxes on tips, overtime pay, and Social Security. Good point, because who claims their tips as income? Nobody, or not many people, I would assume. For example, let's say you're a waitress at Hooters and you're making $3 an hour on the books and you're making all your money in tips. Are you really going to claim every dollar of cash you received in tips? Probably not. So overtime to pay Social Security. Other tax proposals that Trump floated in 2024 and earlier this year include creating a tax deduction for interest payments on car loans and easing the income tax. Here's a thought. Just eliminate taxes altogether. We don't need them. Taxation is theft. Let me know if you agree on that. Trump has also talked about eliminating the IRS. Let's go. In favor of the External Revenue Service to collect money from the foreign sources. And since taking office in January, he's hit some of the U.S. biggest trading partners with a slew of tariffs. That's right. But specific details for many of Trump's tax proposals are few and far in between. Without knowing more of the proposed tax cut for those earning $150,000 or less, it's difficult to assess how that plan would work. So we're yet to hear more on that. I'm not very hopeful about the way it is presented as the broad-based cut, according to this guy by the name of Carl Johnson, certified public accountant. Random. But anyways, the idea of eliminated taxes for those earning $150,000 or less may refer solely to income taxes and likely wouldn't eliminate the payroll taxes. We have so many different types of taxes. Good point there. And the taxes for the U.S. workers to pay towards Social Security, Medicare. Majority of the taxpayers earning less than $200,000 pay more in payroll taxes than income taxes, according to a report by the Tax Foundation in 2019. Meanwhile, Congress is currently debating the extension of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. The sweeping legislation initially enacted in 2017 during Trump's first term brought about lower income tax rates, near doubling of the standard deduction, and a much more generous child tax credit, amongst other changes. All of the provisions are set to expire at the end of the year. And what about no taxes on Social Security income? During the Trump campaign for his administration, he proposed many initiatives to cut taxes for Americans. For example, Trump said he wants to eliminate taxes on Social Security retirement benefits for seniors. I'm in the camp, just eliminate them altogether. So yes. And while retirees with low incomes generally don't owe taxes on their Social Security benefits, those who receive income from other sources, such as wages or rental income, may owe income tax up to 85% of their benefit. Imagine that. Imagine paying 85% of your income in taxes. How does that, why would you even live in the United States at that point? And I'll speak from my own perspective here in a moment. As I live in Puerto Rico and I moved to Puerto Rico, part of the reason was for some of the tax benefits. I'll dive into that here shortly. But according to the Tax Policy Center, a plan to eliminate taxes on Social Security benefits would benefit beneficiaries earning between $63,000 and $200,000 the most. However, tax cuts for Social Security will come at a price. According to experts, exempting Social Security benefits from the income tax would increase the budget deficit by one. So I'm not a fan of into that thinking, but if we don't pay more taxes, there's not going to be any money to pave the roads. I don't buy into that because we had plenty of hundreds of billions of dollars to send to the Ukraine, right? So that was our tax money, was it not? Or where was all that money accumulated from? Over $300 billion. So if they have that kind of money for war, do they really need our tax dollars? I think not. So let me read into this breaking news which was published from InfoWars. This is according to the Daily Mail. Donald Trump is being lobbied to make Puerto Rico an independent nation. As you know, it's currently a territory of the United States, or a Commonwealth, as they call it here, and save American taxpayers $617 billion. Let's go. Daily Mail learned at least 2 congressional officers are in possession of the 7-page draft executive order on how the U.S. can help the island territory transition its independence. One individual familiar with the document origin said at least 2 members of Congress have a copy of the draft. Let's go. Currently under review. And according to one source, the document is also in the possession of Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, and White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, and Republican Tom McClintock, and potentially other cabinet secretaries. And meetings have already been held and scheduled about the document. And apparently this document was drafted by a congressional office and leaders of Puerto Rico something efforts with the White House. It is clear efforts to apply pressure on the White House to transition Puerto Rico out of its current status as a U.S. territory, although Trump has not indicated that he wants to rid the U.S. of this territory. Nevertheless, the document has the format of an executive order, as it were authorized by the president himself. It even has a blank for Trump's signature and a March 2025 date with a blank for the day. It's a way of drafting a document, so all Trump has to do is sign it, make it as easy as possible for the POTUS. The document stipulates a 21-month transition period lasting through December 21st, 2026, at the end of which any baby born on the island of Puerto Rico would not be a U.S. citizen. This plan results in $617 billion in savings for the U.S., while providing Puerto Rico with the necessary resources for economic self-sufficiency. According to the proposal, the draft sets up Puerto Rico Transition Fund, which would give the island $36 billion every year for 20 years. That might sound like a lot, but it's a lot less than the $1.37 trillion predicted to be spent on Puerto Rico in the next 50 years. It also says the administrator shall be a Puerto Rico national domiciled in Puerto Rico and shall not be or have been a member of the government of Puerto Rico. The rationale behind this document is explained thusly: rather than perpetuating indefinite territorial dependence, this approach eliminates wasteful spending, establishes a clear exit strategy, and redirects federal resources towards national priorities and domestic programs. This solution ensures Puerto Rico's successful transition to sovereignty while upholding the America First policy. And let's also touch upon the 0% Bitcoin taxes and all taxes on U.S. cryptos. This was, rumored. Actually, the speculation started last year. We had Eric Trump, or Trump Jr., talking about it. We had Trump touching upon it. We were hoping to get the big update from the first White House Crypto Summit, which was literally 1 week ago on the 7th. But unfortunately, they didn't even dive any deeper into it. But that's the talk. And I think if Trump really wants to make America great again, a great start would be to abolish taxes and eliminate all capital gains taxes, especially on cryptocurrency, especially with such a pro-crypto cabinet, in which we have never had before. The previous administration had a war on crypto. So if you want to create a lot of good faith and have everyone in crypto absolutely love you, just eliminate the taxes altogether and let's make America great again. Now, touching upon the Puerto Rico thing, that's pretty significant. There's mixed thoughts here. Locals on the island, part of them want it to become independent from the U.S. And then there's others that like it being a territory because they get the benefit from it. For example, if you're born in Puerto Rico currently, you're still considered a U.S. citizen because Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States. So I understand both perspectives. Now, also, for those that don't know, Puerto Rico is also considered to be the crypto mecca of the United States. And let me explain why that is. There's something currently called Act 60. And if you qualify for Act 60 as a U.S. resident, let's say you're from the mainland, hypothetically say you're from California, and you're like, California taxes are insanity. I can't do this any longer. And so you relocate from California to Puerto Rico, you get your Act 60, you qualify, and a part of the qualification process, this has to be your primary residence on the island, meaning you have to stay here at least 6 months out of the year, which is 183 days or longer to be exact. And if you qualify, you can also tap into 0% capital gains tax on all investments, which include cryptocurrency. That's why a lot of folks involved in crypto move to this island. They don't want to pay the capital gains tax. Also, besides zero capital gains tax, under Act 60, you could also benefit for no federal income taxes. Instead, you would pay a 4% local corporate tax. And I'm not a tax professional. This is not tax advice. Of course, seek out, a professional tax expert if you're going to go this route, but I'm just telling you the little bit that I do know or understand, or at least how I perceive it and understand it, as I moved out to Puerto Rico back in 2018 after the 2016-2017 bull run, to position myself to take advantage, to pay less taxes, because at that time I was paying 6 figures in taxes to the U.S. government because I had a very successful business. And in Florida, in which is where I moved from Clearwater to be here in 2018, taxes are very high, somewhere between 30 and 40%. So a hypothetical, for every $100,000 of profit in a business, you're responsible for paying like 30 to 40,000 in federal income taxes. And if you're $1 million income earner, it's extremely significant. Imagine earning $1 million net profit in your business. And let's hypothetically say you're in freaking California. And then California is going to say, you got to pay $400,000 to the government of that 1 million, which is probably ballpark accurate. And however, if you were in Puerto Rico, you'd only pay $40,000 in local state taxes for every $1 million of income, which is profit. So there's a huge significance. And that's why so many successful companies are here, including big pharmaceutical companies. It's to reduce their tax liability. And one of the other advantages, you can still live elsewhere. You just have to be on the island 183 days out of the year. And if you don't know, now you know. And so I'm just letting you guys know there are benefits here in Puerto Rico. But just to be clear, Puerto Rico is not Bitcoin country. There's a big difference between Puerto Rico and El Salvador. There's only one Bitcoin country, which is El Salvador. That's why I define Puerto Rico as the crypto mecca, not Bitcoin mecca, crypto mecca of the United States. And with that being shared, welcome everyone to the Q&A segment of the live stream.